Hello, and welcome to the 8th episode of our Moms for Liberty Hamilton County, Tennessee podcast. I'm your host, Tanya, and I'm here with my co-host, Rebecca, and we are here for the kids. In today's episode, we will be talking about a few things that have been in the news this week that we thought our Moms for Liberty audience would be interested in. Moms for Liberty welcomes all that have a desire to stand up for parental rights at all levels of government, and we are dedicated to fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. First, let's start at the local level. Northside Neighborhood House partners with Hamilton County Schools to expand community school work in northern Hamilton County. Rebecca, will you read this article and then we'll talk about it?
Sure. Our local Chattanoogan, it's a website that puts out local news. They list obituaries. It's where you can go find opinion pieces, but they put out an article on August the 9th with that title that the Northside Neighborhood House is now partnering with the community school work in northern Hamilton County. And unity is all caps. So we thought this would be an interesting article for our local community, just to let them know what is going on the north side of the county and talk a little bit about who Northside Neighborhood House is. So the article says the Northside Neighborhood House, in collaboration with Hamilton County Schools Community Forward Schools Strategy, has expanded its community school support in northern Hamilton County from 5 to 10 schools for the 2023-2024 school year, with the purpose of positioning the school as a resource hub that empowers, equips, and engages the community to support student learning and development. The Northside Neighborhood House Community School Program embeds a Northside Neighborhood House staff member in the school. These full-time staff members provide programming, support services, and opportunities to children, families, and the community. Here's a quote from the Hamilton County School Superintendent, Dr. Robertson. He says, "We are thrilled about the expansion of the Community Forward School Strategy in partnership with Northside Neighborhood House. This initiative continues the district's work of Opportunity 2030 commitment, every student belongs. We are grateful for the continued support of community partners in serving our children. By cultivating strengths and removing barriers to succeed, we ensure all children thrive and experience a future without limits." Northside Neighborhood House First Community Schools was launched at Red Bank High School in 2017. And over the next 5 years, programming expanded to Red Bank Elementary, Hickson Middle, Soddy Daisy Middle, and Sell Creek Middle High Schools. With the addition of the 5 new schools, programming is now offered in Hickson, Red Bank, and Soddy Daisy feeder pattern schools, elementary, middle, and high schools, as well as at Sell Creek Middle High School. The Northside Neighborhood House has been in operation since 1924, working to address the needs of individuals and families living north of the Tennessee River by providing a hand up through education and assistance, with offices located on the North Shore. Northside Neighborhood House operates 5 community schools, 3 thrift stores, and the Coffee Community Collective in Soddy Daisy.
Wow, Rebecca, they have a lot going on.
They do, and I didn't realize they were in operation since 1924.
I know that's 100 years almost.
Yeah, it'll be 100 years at the end of this school year. One thing that I do when I'm researching these partners that are in the school is I pull up their Form 990. You can go on the internet and just type in Northside Neighborhood House Form 990, and that pulls up the financial document that shows sometimes it shows who their donors are. It shows what they use the money for. So I'm going to go over that if that's okay, Tanya.
Yeah, and you can do that with any nonprofit.
You should be able to go onto the internet, yes, and you just go to Google and you just type in whatever the nonprofit's name is, and you type Form 990, so 990, and then their return will pull up. Sometimes it just gives you a brief overview, but you can usually find the full filing and it will show you exactly what they filed with the IRS. Okay, so I've got it pulled up here. It's their return of organization exempt form income tax. And this one is from 2021. All right, so if you start at the top, it just gives the name of their organization, Northside Neighborhood House. It shows that they're at a P.O. box in 37405. That's North Chattanooga, I think. And the name and address of their principal officer is that P.O. box, and her name is Rachel Gammon. And then if you scroll down, part one is just the summary. It shows activities and governance, their revenue, their expenses, and then net assets, fund balances. So at the top, it says briefly describe the organization's mission. So their mission is to provide a hand up through education and assistance to residents north of the river. And then it shows you how many people they have as voting members of their governing body. They have 30 people as voting members, and then they have 30 independent voting members. It says they have 73 individuals employed during the calendar year of 2021. And then an estimate of their volunteers is 800. So that's good. They have a lot of people volunteering.
Right, they do. They have a lot of assistance there.
That's good. The community out here, I think, supports. I've heard a lot of good things about this organization.
I have too.
So in the revenues portion, it shows your contributions and grants. Prior year they had, so that would have been 2020. They had 1,357,611. And then in 2021, they had 1,506,774. And then their revenue, I think that comes from their thrift stores. Their revenue for the prior year is 1,214,000. And then 2021, it was 1,500,000. And then they have some investment income. Then they have some other revenue that's negative. And so their total revenue, when you add all that up, is for 2021, it was $3,023,314. And then if you go down to expenses, it shows grants that they've made, salaries that they've paid. They pay $1,472,000 in salaries and other expenses. And then they have some assets.
I'm assuming that they pay their workers at the thrift stores, but I wonder if that's paying for the workers that are at the schools also.
I think so. I think they have those community, whatever they're called. I think that's partly what the money goes for. And then they also have some assets. 2021 end of year, they had $2,212,251 in assets, $61,000 in liabilities. So their net assets is $2,151,000. Sometimes you can see who their donors are, but I am seeing on this Form 990 that I pulled up, they've got their donors restricted. So you can't see who is donating to them. They also have a list of their officers, and it looks like they have 31 total officers, and the only one that's getting paid a salary is Rachel Gammon. She's their CEO. She makes $93,775 a year. And then if you scroll down, there is a portion that shows the grants and assistance. It says statement of functional expense, section 501c3 and 501c4 organizations must complete all columns. Is this grants that they've paid out? It says grants and other assistance to domestic individuals, total expenses, $292,139. And that's the same amount they have for program service expenses.
So that sounds like it's what they've used to help the community with, like the grant money that they've gotten. And one thing that I want to mention is that, before all of this, before starting with Moms for Liberty, I had just started researching about nonprofits, and I didn't know that you could go online and look up this information. Is this for any nonprofit? Like, is this for 501c3, 501c4? Any nonprofit, you can go and look this information up.
Yes.
So I think that's important for our audience to know that you can go and look that information up. I don't have anything bad to say about Northside Neighborhood. I think it's wonderful what they're doing for the community, and I want the community on the north side of the river to know about this opportunity. But I do think it's good for everyone to know that they can go and look these nonprofits up and see what they are doing with their money, because we are constantly hearing about nonprofits and what they are doing, but it's just like a small overview of what they're doing, and you're thinking, okay, who are these people? How much money do they have? And what exactly are they doing? What exactly are they doing with it? So it's good to know that we can go in and get that information.
Yeah, especially in the schools. The schools have a lot of partners. And what we found out in our research is these nonprofits, a lot of them are connected to each other. So you'll have one nonprofit that is working in the schools, and then you'll have another nonprofit that's donating to that nonprofit. And then you'll have some nonprofits like this one that actually have employees in the schools. Another thing that you can look at, there's a section called Reason for Public Charity Status. So we found, doing some research on a different nonprofit that's in the schools, we actually found on their Form 990 that the city of Chattanooga was giving them quite a bit of money. So not only do these nonprofits get money from donors and from grants, but sometimes they get money from government organizations. And it looks like that's what Northside Neighborhood House is. It says they've checked number 7, which says an organization that normally receives a substantial part of its support from a government unit or from the general public described in section 170B1A6, which that's tax money. You know, if it's coming from the government, it's our money. So we're paying Northside Neighborhood House to put teachers in the schools on top of what the property tax is.
So that was going to be 2 of the things that I wanted to mention. Just the fact that on top of the budget that Hamilton County Schools already has, there's so many of these nonprofits that are in the schools helping. And I don't understand why they cannot seem to take care of the students in their schools and their teachers with the budget they've been given. And I'll say on top of that, knowing that I think it's 49% of the students in Hamilton County in the district are homeschooled or go to private school. So I really can't understand that. And then my second comment would be this Opportunity 2030. I've already made a face when you were reading that. Like, I mean, everyone knows that. I mean, it's just a catchphrase at this point, 2030. It's not a conspiracy theory. Everybody knows what Agenda 2030 is. And when you look at this whole school, whole child model that Opportunity 2030 is for the Hamilton County School District, it's like putting 2 things side by side that look so much alike. And I'm not sure how people feel about that here in our county.
I know how some people feel about it. Opportunity 2030 is woven into the climate action plan. And I know there's a big group of people here that is just growing and growing that are adamantly against Tim Kelly's CAP, is what they call it, the CAP, climate action plan. And they're working very hard to get some answers on how that has all come about in the city of Chattanooga. And I would imagine that now that the city of Chattanooga is providing more services for the schools, I do know that part of the climate action plan has the schools included in it.
Well, and I can attest to the math curriculum that was just adopted. What I looked through, everything that was in it was about sustainability. And so that's teaching, that's a religion.
Yes, it is.
Through our curriculum. And so, I know everyone sees it every day, the contrast between these two sides where people are fighting for socialism and communism, basically, in our country, and a one world government that they think will hand them everything and take care of them. And that is not what's going to happen. But, we've already said that. And then the other side that really values our country and what it was founded on, and the Constitution that we would love to be living by, but most times we don't feel like we are living by the Constitution anymore. We feel like it's void at this time. Mayor Tim Kelly just recently posted on Facebook about his agreement to make a deal with a city in Ukraine, and for the cities to help one another to grow. And he said that the people of Chattanooga came up with this idea. I don't know what people of Chattanooga he's talking about, but I would dare to say that most people in Chattanooga did not know about this plan that he has with a city in Ukraine. Although he did say that no money was going towards this plan.
We'll see about that. I think that's one of the sister city programs, I think. And he did say in his post, it was the city of Chattanooga, but then he started referencing a group. So I wonder how big the group was that came up with this idea, and who was the group, and where did the group come from?
Those are all questions that we have. And that's another reason I want to say this about Northside Neighborhood House, this community project. That's another thing that I wanted to say about it. We're not just putting them in the light and saying all of this about their nonprofit organization to say anything bad about them. We think this is good for the community, but we also brought all of that up to say, there are ways that you can look this up yourself and start finding things out on your own. Anytime you hear an organization that's involved with the schools or city council, county commission, you heard me at the beginning. I read the mission statement. Moms for Liberty is involved at all levels of government. And we do care about everything that's going on in the local, state, and federal levels of government. So it's important for all of us to know how to check these organizations and keep up with them and what they are doing with their money.
Yeah, exactly. You always hear if anyone is doing any kind of investigation on anything, follow the money. Just follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
You find out a lot about who's really in control. And one thing that I will say about these nonprofit organizations in general is they're not elected, and they've got a lot of control. They have a lot of say-so in what goes on in our government, not just with the schools. There's a lot of nonprofit organizations. SPLC is a nonprofit organization, and SPLC is in direct connection with the government. So, it's not always a good thing to have a nonprofit connected to a government entity.
And how much is SPLC worth?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. Is it billions? I don't know.
It's millions, a lot of millions.
We'll have to look that up.
It was a 500 million. I may be wrong, but
wow,
I think that may have been it.
And I think their CEO is from China, but we'll talk about that another day.
We did have an article written up about SPLC
Yeah.
and how we were kicked off next door. Someone from Daily Signal wrote an article, and he actually wrote a book about SPLC.
Okay. That's interesting. Maybe we'll have to do a podcast on that someday.
Always so much to talk about. What else are we going to talk about today, Rebecca?
Have you heard about the judge that is anti-homeschool in Tennessee?
I definitely heard about that. You can imagine how many times that's been sent to me in the past 2 days.
Let me go over a little post here from Patriots Engaged Chattanooga. They just made a quick post about what's going on. And then there's a video that we can show you. Someone took an undercover video of this guy. And so this post says, this judge needs serious disciplinary action, disbarment, or retire. This is an activist judge violating state law and thinks he is a ruler over Coffee County. And then they put a link to the video, which we'll show in just a minute. And then it says that somebody in Coffee County needs to file ethics complaints with the state and the bar and ask that this man be disbarred, file complaint to remove from the bench. And then it's got a link to the judiciary on how to file a complaint. And then there's another link on how to file a complaint to get him disbarred. And they tag the homeschool groups, Coffee County Homeschool Network, City of Manchester local government, the Tennessee Conservative, Tennessee Star. I'm sure this is going to be making the rounds, but this was very shocking. Do you want to watch that video real quick and just talk about it?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to go to, if there's a truancy charge pending state losses act to approve homeschool, and I don't do it. You've got to go to public school because homeschool is no school. So, we're going, if you don't go to school, to public school, if you're not there tomorrow, we're going to send you, we're going to do the FCIP and send you off is exactly what we're going to do. And as parents of nothing, you can also be charged with violating the compulsory school attendance law. If you want to wait and see how that affects other people, we have about 8 of them on the docket here today. So if you want to see if they go to jail or don't go to jail or how that happens, you can certainly do that.
This is Dr. Cornelius with Coffee County Schools. The high school sent me the records request that you had for one of those Category 4 homeschools. Anytime that a student, as you know, has been petitioned to the court on truancy, Judge Ewell does not allow the homeschooling. He must approve any homeschool on any person, on any student that has been brought on truancy charges to his court. And I got that confirmed from him just on Tuesday of this week. She will be counted absent from us until such time as you make arrangements with the court to talk to Judge Ewell about it. Please make sure this is done quickly because it could result in new charges. Thank you.
Wow. I think that parents don't get their rights from the government. They get their rights from God. And I cannot believe. So if it's just 11 days that this child's missed and this judge has ordered the parents to not be able to have her in homeschool, I can't for the life of me understand.
Sounds like he's an activist judge. And I know locally here in our county, we have a judge in, I think, Chancery Court, who's so pro homeschooling that when he got elected because the homeschool people came together to help get him elected. I mean, homeschool parents have power.
Yes,
they have a lot of political power in this state. And from what I understand, as far as truancy is concerned, because I've done a little bit of research on this, I know from personal experience, 11 days is nothing. You can write parent notes for so many, you can get doctor's notes for so many, but even if you miss 25 days, there are people in Hamilton County school system that have missed 60 days and they still pass.
Oh, yes.
But just because they're in, yeah, they still pass. But just because they're in public school, that means they get a good education. Every homeschooler that I know is much more well-educated than a public school. I mean, it's just
I know.
facts.
I know. I know a lot of homeschool kids, and they are very well mannered, and they are super smart. They can carry on conversations with any adult, and they know how to do the work at home, and their parents take them to all kinds of places to learn about different trades and skills. And I mean, they really are immersed in so many things. And I love our homeschool community here. So I'm not real sure what this judge's deal is, but I guess we will see. A lot of people I know that sent this to me said, this is illegal. Like, he should step down immediately. So we'll see what happens with it.
Crazy.
Crazy times when elected officials think that they're supposed to tell parents what to do with their kids.
Well, they've been getting away with it for so long, and they just think that nobody's going to do anything to them. But I'll be interested to see what happens to this guy.
So, talking about people getting away with doing things for so long, school boards have done the same thing. They've been getting away with doing things however they want to do it for so long, and they are not happy about people showing up to talk to them. And we've said multiple times, even when we talk to our school board, we only have 2 people, 3 sometimes, that talk to us. So that's difficult because you never get a response. You feel like it's pointless, but we're not doing it for them. We are because they are our elected officials, but we also do it because it goes on public record. But speaking in terms of that, James O'Keefe, we'll talk about him. He went to a school board meeting in Livingston, New Jersey, and was told to stop recording. We'll play that video for you, and then we'll talk about that as well.
My name is James O'Keefe. I'm an investigative reporter residing in Bergen County, New Jersey. And Superintendent Matt Block, I read your audit report announcement on May 12th from the spring. We've noted that here in Essex County, you've supported equity and inclusion in your PowerPoint presentation. Your audit video announcement in May, you said you're focused on the past several years on equity, inclusion, diversity, quote, mandated curricular and extracurricular programming, and a focus on, quote, global citizenship. You announced that your school district is also doing a, quote, equity audit. So for those of you who may not know what that is, it's some type of audit into equity programs, and you've hired a firm called A2Z, we've learned. Now, we don't know much about this firm. They're apparently affiliated with Rowan University. Their Instagram page has 0 posts and 41 followers. So the public will be interested to know more about that.
I'd like to interrupt. Sorry, I'm sorry. We do not allow recording of our meetings, please.
So
You are clearly recording at this time, and that's in violation of our policy. So I will grant you your 2 minutes that are left, but I would advise whoever is recording right now to please stop if you want to continue with the meeting.
So what's interesting about that is, one of the things that I do is use cameras to record.
Mr. O'Keefe, you have to respect our policies. You are in our territory at our home.
You're out of your area.
Yeah, this is our turf, man.
And you are,
The state of New Jersey.
you are, but
Party consent.
it's very important to stick to the guidelines and policies and discipline of the House.
Exactly what I intend.
And this is in violation clearly, so the meeting cannot go on if you'll violate. You will get your 2 minutes of speak. You have 2 minutes left, but the recording cannot be allowed.
Okay, so
No, not yet, till the recording stops.
Okay, but aren't we recording on the Zoom?
Yes.
Yes, we
you
are.
have access to that, but
Okay.
this cannot be allowed.
This is being recorded, but we're not allowed to.
In-room recording, you have to take prior permission, if at all.
Okay,
It's not allowed. It's against our policies.
well, then what I will tell you is that,
No, Mr. O'Keefe, I'm sorry. I cannot have this conversation any further till the recording stops.
put that down.
And shut the recording. I'm taking your word on this.
Well, we're gonna shut that recording down. No one's holding their phones up. But just to let you know, we have and we intend to distribute our hidden cameras to the parents of this school district in order to promote transparency. You know, we care, as a resident of the state, I care about how my tax dollars are being used on these audits. And, you know, Mr. Superintendent Block, Dr. Block, we know that you're one of the higher paid people in the state, $237,000 salary. So if I may just use my seconds to just show you this device over here that's sitting on the chair, this has in fact been recording the whole time. This is a hidden camera that actually has a camera in it, and it sits on the chair, and there it is recording all of you this whole meeting. So thank you very much. We'll be distributing these devices throughout Essex County here in the interests of transparency. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, that was very unusual.
Usual.
They actually called the police on me while I was giving my remarks. Someone walked in and out.
That is not unusual for them to call the cops.
There you have it. James O'Keefe.
He's not going to hurt anybody.
Question. You know if they.
And the cop wouldn't even come down there to him.
I know.
I don't know who did. I was supposed to come here. My supervisor.
Okay, just about 15 minutes ago or so.
Okay.
So they called the police because I'm speaking.
Wouldn't even talk to
I'll
him.
talk about my supervisor.
I'm a journalist.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, your supervisor told you to come.
I mean, is the
Okay.
police officer scared of James
So there's
O'Keefe?
the police officer.
I guess he
admitting
doesn't
that
want to be
his
recorded.
Supervisor told him to come because I was speaking at a school board meeting.
Wow. What did we just watch?
I think we just watched Hamilton County 2.0. They did all the things that our school board members do. They called the cops on parents at Hamilton County before.
Well, see, and I wasn't there for all of that. So, and I was talking in a text thread today because they were talking about how another county where they've limited their time to speak. I think they've lifted that limitation now, but some people were worried about a law that was going to pass and it was going to put restrictions on speaking at the school board, because when all of this sexual content that came out in these books that were being put in schools by nonprofits, mind you,
Yep.
parents were going to the school board and reading them to the school board so they would know what were in the schools. And apparently the police were called on the parents for doing that. And that's why parents are labeled as terrorists. I mean, none of it makes sense to me. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. They said, did she say in my home or our home? That's not.
She said she said you're in you're in our territory, in our home. I just wonder who she is, where she's from, and why she's using that word territory.
Well, and it's not their home. That's the taxpayers, the building, all of it.
Yeah.
How they're getting paid. I don't understand these people, Rebecca.
They think they're little kings and queens, and it's all coming crashing down because it's all public record. I think if James O'Keefe has got his spotlight on you, it's not good.
Mm-mm.
No.
I invited him to come down here to Hamilton County. I hope at some point he does. If he doesn't, I'm sure someone in Hamilton County is going to get fed up at some point. And, you know, they can't do anything about the cameras. That they've made a rule, and parents are really, that's another thing we can talk about, the phone policy. I was leaning toward students not having their phones, because I know as a former teacher how distracting it is. But they've got Chromebooks sitting in front of them all the time anyways, and they know how to bypass the wall. Those are distracting. I've said every Chromebook needs to go in the river, and I absolutely mean it from the bottom of my heart. I would love to see schools go back to paper and pencil, and people think that I'm stuck in the 1800s, I guess, because I say that, but there's a lot of not learning going on those Chromebooks. So anyways, parents are upset because there are things going on in the schools that they want their students, their children, to be able to record. There's bullying going on, and they're being constantly harassed if teachers are teaching things that they know their parents don't want them to be learning in school. So I'm not sure how the phone policy is going to play out. What do you think about the phone policy, Rebecca?
Well, I have mixed feelings like you do. I understand that teachers need to be able to control the culture and the environment in their classroom. I get that. But I also understand, like you said, there are many, many teachers in Hamilton County. You're not crazy. You're not a weirdo because you think paper and pencil and having a hard copy book is a good thing. There are many teachers in Hamilton County that wish they could go back to paper and pencil because that's when there was a lot of learning going on. But now, from what I understand, from having a student in the school system, during a lot of these classes, those Chromebooks are used to watch Netflix, to message. They can pull up a Google Doc and all the kids in the school can talk to each other. Now, I mean, there are some restrictions, or, you know, there are some things in place in the school system that the IT department can catch that stuff. But there's 49,000, well, probably not anymore, 45,000 kids in the school system, 45,000 Chromebooks. How many people do they have in their IT department? Seriously, like how many people?
Well, they're looking for people. I know I saw job postings for that, but they're supposed to have one person at each school that's dealing with that on a daily basis. But I can remember when I was teaching, they were not only dealing with that, they were dealing with Chromebooks that weren't working. They were having to recode everything on the Chromebooks or get them sent to central office or get other ones from other schools to replace the ones that were broken. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a constant job. And then, if I'm not mistaken, they were also teaching a computer class as well. So,
oh, wow.
I'm not exactly sure how they're keeping up with that. Teachers do have a screen that they can watch. They can pull up and see all of the students in their class, their screens. The teachers have to sit there and watch that screen to see what they're doing, which.
What about the classes that don't have teachers? What about the classes where the kids go in with their Chromebook and they sit down and they do all their work on their Chromebook and they cheat and then they watch Netflix? I mean, that happens 100%. They also don't want cell phones in the schools because kids are taking videos of people having sex in the bathroom. People go into the bathroom and fight. They take videos. And the problem with the cell phone policy is it's not the same across the board. So the elementary schools, of course, they have to put their phones up beginning of the day and take them out at the end of the day. I think middle school may be the same way, unless it's used for instructional time.
No, they fought for that for middle school to be like high school.
So 6th through 12th grade, they get to take their phones out at lunch if the principal allows them to do that. They get to take their phones out at certain times during the day. So what is that accomplishing? If they still have their phone and they're accessible, they have access to their phone.
That's the same policy they had before even having a policy. That's the reason.
And it's different in every school. So, I mean,
autonomy for principals, just like the code of acceptable behavior we've talked about before.
It's a nothing burger policy.
Mm-hmm.
Tanya, you want to talk about the Bibles in the School program? That's a local.
Sure.
That's a local news article from this week as well.
Right. I know some people were asking questions about the program, and I think that that's the program that Ben Connor was wanting to have a review of. But from my understanding, the Bible class teachers, and they're not teaching faith, they're teaching the history of the Bible. So, but since it's those Bible class teachers that are in the schools, I think that this organization pays the teachers that are in the schools. Hamilton County does not pay for them. So that's some of what that grant pays for that they got. Do you want to read?
Yeah, I'll read part of this article. And also, just so everybody knows, this elective is a required elective according to Tennessee state law. So I know that Ben pitched a hissy fit. His very first initiative when he came on the board was to pitch a hissy fit about Bibles in the School program, because there was something that had to do with a teacher. I think it was out maybe at East Hamilton or Ooltewah or somewhere out that way. And somebody got offended because of something that they said about Jewish religion. And I'm not really sure what the details are, but he took that as an opportunity to say he was going to go in every class, or he was going to review every teacher and see how they're teaching this curriculum. Like
If he's going to do that, I would appreciate it if he does it with every single teacher.
Oh yeah, he's the Bibles in the School czar. Maybe he needs to be the somebody needs to be the social emotional learning czar and go into all these schools with these activist teachers and see how they're teaching that.
Mr. Connor?
Thank you. I want to discuss under Section 8, letter D, number 3, and then A, labeled federal grants, state grants, and self-funded programs.
Great. Go ahead and ask your questions about that, if you're ready.
So this is directly the $2 million coming to us in a source of funds to fund the elective program for Bible study as literacy. Now, I know that there has been a few different instances in our recent past regarding this and slight misdoings of the class in general. First of it not being gained as literacy. Second, some people have brought up different ways that it doesn't, it's more of an indoctrination instead of what it's meant to be. So I understand the intention of the program, and I appreciate the generosity of the folks to spend the money. Obviously, they're helping to give people that want a class. But until we can provide and guarantee options for all of our students of different faith backgrounds, I cannot in good faith or conscience vote to approve this. I cannot in good faith or conscience vote to approve this. I cannot in good faith or conscience vote to approve this. So I want to make sure that I am involved in the process and see what happens through the course of this year. I know that we already have the teachers in place. I know that we have already got the program set up, and I know that people have already committed to being a part of them. So it's not something that I'm saying today that we need to dissolve, but it's definitely something that we as a board need to make sure it is being implemented correctly, not getting us into any sticky situations, and something that I'm going to pull so that I can abstain from voting from, but promise the board and promise District 6 in Hamilton County that I'm going to be looking into it to make sure that it's run correctly. Not getting us into any sticky situations, not getting us into any sticky situations.
Okay, so I'm going to read this. Hamilton County Schools gets $2.3 million for Bible education from Chattanooga nonprofit. The Chattanooga nonprofit Bible in the Schools has announced the delivery of nearly $2.3 million to Hamilton County Schools to fund a county-wide elective Bible education program. Hamilton County School Superintendent Justin Robertson received the check during a July 27th ceremony at the Hamilton County Schools Central Office. The elective Bible program offers students an opportunity to engage with the Bible in an academic setting, the nonprofit said in a news release. The program emphasizes critical thinking skills and encourages students to explore the historical, literary, and cultural aspects of the Bible, fostering a deeper understanding of its influence on society, the news release said. Okay, and just so everybody knows, there is Tennessee State Code. It says approval for elective state-funded course for non-sectarian, non-religious academic study of the Bible, which means if Bibles in the schools didn't pay for it, Hamilton County taxpayers would pay for it, or maybe the state, because it says state-funded course. So it says the State Board of Education is authorized to approve a curriculum for an elective state-funded course consisting of a non-sectarian, non-religious academic study of the Bible. The course may include the impact of the Bible on literature, art, music, culture, and politics. The curriculum and associated textbooks and instructional materials shall meet academic rigor and standards of the State Board of Education in the same manner as required for approval of any other elective course, textbooks, and instructional materials approved by the State Board, and shall meet the requirements of the constitutions of the United States and of this state. Nice. The course provided for in this section shall, 1, be taught in an objective and non-devotional manner with no attempt made to indoctrinate students. Wow, we need to get some language written about this DEI stuff that they're doing. No attempt made to indoctrinate students. 2, not include teaching of religious doctrine or sectarian interpretation of the Bible or of texts from other religions or cultural traditions. And 3, not disparage or encourage a commitment to a particular set of religious beliefs.
That is correct. All the Bible teachers that I've known in the past when I've worked in the school system, it has been historical and cultural, and I don't even remember them talking about the political aspects of it, but I can imagine that they've had to. The Bible really does get political. I think someone asked me that question not too long ago. It was an organization, and they were asking how political I thought they should be. And they're a Christian organization. And I said, well, if you are speaking straight from the Bible, you're going to be political regardless.
The Bible is a very political book.
Mm-hmm.
It's very political.
It is.
God created government.
Okay, guys. And to wrap things up, we will talk about high school students that could receive a $25,000 scholarship from Vivek Ramaswamy. 10 winners will be selected by a panel of judges to each receive a $25,000 scholarship for post-secondary education, entrepreneurial endeavors, or their commitment to serve in a military or law enforcement role. I think this is some interesting information that came out today, and we wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, we wanted to get this out to you because there is a time limit for filing. You need to get this submitted no later than August the 18th at 9 p.m. And we'll put the link in the description here. And we'll also post this on the Moms for Liberty website. But I'll read this article real quick. Vivek Ramaswamy, he is running for president. He's a great guy so far from what I've seen. He also spoke at the Moms for Liberty Summit, didn't he, Tanya?
He did, and he had his wife and his 2 small children there on stage with him, and it was absolutely precious to watch.
Awesome. So it says Vivek Ramaswamy-American Identity Scholarship. In the face of declining national pride, Vivek Ramaswamy will endow a new scholarship to revive patriotism amongst young Americans. This is so awesome. This year, 10 high school students will be eligible to receive a $25,000 scholarship for concisely articulating what it means to be an American in 2023. 10 winners will be selected by a panel of judges to each receive a $25,000 scholarship for post-secondary education, entrepreneurial endeavors, or their commitment to serve in a military or law enforcement role. The scholarship will be administered by Incubate Debate, a nonprofit organization that leads U.S. students to debate important issues of public importance. In consultation with the founding benefactor, Vivek, Incubate Debate will provide coaching tips to students on delivering confident, concise, and clear messages via Twitter. And the rules are The student needs to submit a 2-minute video answering the question, what does it mean to be an American? It's open to current high school students, grades 9 through 12, or a recent graduate from the class of 2023.
Hey, Rebecca, that's really interesting. That question, what does it mean to be an American? That's a lesson that we just talked about for ninth graders. I think that's great.
That is very interesting. What does it not mean to be American is taught in Hamilton County school system. And then it says that you need to submit it by Friday, August the 18th at 9 p.m. Eastern, and winners will be announced in late September 2023, shortly after the start of the new school year. Any submission reasonably interpreted to endorse any specific candidate for public office or political party will be disqualified. So don't write about who you want to be president. The judging criteria: submissions will be evaluated based on their thoughtfulness, insight, and ability to stimulate thought or discussion about the topic. Awesome.
Yes, that's awesome. And we will, like Rebecca said, we'll put the link to apply for the scholarship in the description of this podcast. I think it really speaks volumes, Rebecca. For me, I have a few friends who their parents are immigrants from other countries, and they really are some of the most patriotic people that I know. And it's interesting to me how much Americans who have lived here for generations have forgotten what their grandparents and their great-grandparents fought for, and the freedom that we have enjoyed, and we're losing it. So,
yes, I would highly recommend everyone read the Declaration of Independence and listen to the Federalist Papers. Just go on YouTube, type in Federalist Papers, and just listen to them. It will blow your mind. It will blow your mind.
So I have to say I'm behind Rebecca on that. We are studying the Constitution each week with each other and a few other people, and she looked up the Federalist Papers and sent them to us, and a couple people have been listening to them, and I have not yet, so I'm going to listen to them, and we'll talk about those in later episodes, I'm sure about it. So that is all for this episode. Thank you for joining us. Please go to Rumble and find M4L Hamilton TN, click follow, and turn on notifications. You can do that on YouTube as well at Moms for Liberty Chattanooga, and click on subscribe and turn on notifications. Remember, this is our 8th episode, and we have covered a lot in previous episodes. So go back and listen if you haven't already, and please share these podcasts with your family and friends. You can also visit our website and social media to connect with us. Those links will be in the description of this podcast as well. This is Tanya and Rebecca signing off until the next episode. We are here for the kids, and we will see you next time.